Collar grab defense, bent arm. This is when my opponent's grabbing the same side. And anytime we talk about a bent arm grab defense, it's because our opponent is pulling. So straight arm is usually they're pushing, and bent arm, they're pulling. So my partner's gonna grab, and he's going to be pulling here. So I always need to have a good base before I set this move up. Anytime my feet are moving, I'm not going to be able to complete these self-defense moves like I want to be able to. So first thing, I'm going to put my foot on the outside of his foot, about toe to toe, and find my base. If I can get my partner to stop pulling me, that's ideal. A lot of times, once they stop moving you, they'll stop pulling as hard when they realize that that's not effective. If he's just dragging me wherever he wants me to go, then he's probably just going to continue pulling. So if I can stop that by finding my base, then ideally he stops pulling me as hard. Okay? So once I'm able to find my base here by putting one foot in and the other foot back and leaning away, once he stops trying to drag me, now I can complete the move. So if he just has a bent arm, now I can complete the move because he's not pulling me out of my base any longer. Okay? So anytime your feet are moving, this move is going to be very difficult to execute. So by finding my base, if I can get him to stop pulling me out of my base, then I can actually move my feet to complete the move. So with that said, this is what the move looks like. And we'll break it down. So first thing I want to do is find the base and make sure he's not going to punch me with the other arm. So my hands are always up and I'm prepared for that punch. If that punch does come, I don't want to stay out here where I'm in the power arc of this punch. So if I ever see that elbow or that hand come up, I'm immediately closing the gap here and moving into T position. If he's not punching, I found my base, he's no longer pulling, now I can complete the move. So I'm going to grab the wrist, palm up, and I'm going to cup the elbow, palm up as well. I'm going to use this part of my hand. There's a pointy little bone on the inside of the elbow here, and I want to put my palm right on that bony point on the elbow, right where the funny bone is. So I'm palm up here on the wrist, palm up here, cupping the point of the elbow, and I'm going to open up this foot enough that I can step through. If my foot is too close here, there's not enough space and it gets a little tight and a little difficult. So give yourself enough room, usually about a foot distance is all you need to be able to cross step through. So before I cross step here, I'm going to tuck my elbow in to my hip. And I'm going to do that so that I can frame and press my opponent's elbow up. So if I don't frame that elbow and he's kind of still got tension on this arm, you'll find it's really difficult to push that elbow up. So by framing it into my hip, as my hip comes through, it's going to press the arm up for me. So instead of all of the press coming out of just my arm, it's coming out of my entire body. So I cross step through, and I really like to put my butt through on this. And you can see how keeping that elbow to the hip is what's really going to get his elbow to flare open. And by flaring that elbow open, that's what's going to give me the space to turn and step through. So I'm cross-stepping, elbows connected to hip, I'm pressing the hip through. I'm going to turn and put my butt through all the way, and then step through, and then very last, the head comes through. Okay. From here, I can either just hold here, or I prefer to shoot this hand through, grab the tricep, pinch, grab the head, and I can control here. Okay. If I can keep his posture broken, it's very difficult for him to get out of that position. So, palms up, leaving enough space, cross step, use the hip to press on the elbow. I'm turning and letting the butt go through. Foot steps, head comes last. I'm keeping this grip, a nice firm grip. This hand can rotate and shoot through to the tricep. And then I'm going to close the space between my wrist and my chest to put a pinch on this arm. I'm going to take the hand and just press down on the neck. And now if he can't posture, it's very difficult for him to get out of this. If I allow him to posture here, it actually kind of puts me in a bad position here. So keeping his posture down is ideal. I can hold him here. We can go into all the wrist locks from here. I can strike from here. It's really just a great position to be in. So the most common mistakes on this are, one, not connecting the hip and elbow. You'll get to this point and my partner's not really resisting, and we get in the habit of not needing to connect that hip. So once you get comfortable with this move, have your partner give you some resistance there so that you can really feel and practice what it takes to really complete that movement of getting that arm up so there's enough space for your whole body to move through. Okay. The other common mistake on this is trying to put my head through first. So what'll happen a lot of times is I'll do this move and then people always want to try and put their head through first. And it's not realistic, because when my partner's not giving me resistance, I can flare the elbow clear up here, and yeah, that actually makes the move easier. But as soon as he actually pulls on me and has some resistance there, at best, you're gonna get the arm up to about your shoulder. If I can get my shoulder through right here, I know I'm good. From here, I step through, turn through the rest of the way, and complete the movement. So when a partner's resisting, you're not gonna be able to get the arm high enough to get your head through first. And so it's important that we bring the head through last, okay? And so when we do it correctly, it really looks like we're gonna get stuck in a headlock here, okay? But as long as I hold on to the wrist and the elbow here, he can't put that hand through, okay? Even if he grabs there, there's still enough space to get through. And I might not be able to take the arm, but I'm still in an advantageous position there. So it's really counterintuitive to put the head through last, because that's not how we walk around. We don't walk around booty first. We walk around more or less head first. And so it's natural to try and want to go head first, but we actually want that head very last.